Alright, so at this point, everybody is wondering how come it's taking so long to identify the two bodies that were found on the JetBlue flight? Yes, they said the bodies were decomposed. However, there has been multiple people who have come forward to say that they believe that these are their family members. We haven't had any updates for them to say they've matched the DNA and it's a match and the person is who they say it is. Also, how could the body have been so badly decomposed that it's beyond recognition already within a few days? Badly decomposed, I understand. Beyond complete recognition, within a few days, really makes no sense. These are things we have to think about, right? For those of you who don't know about this, recently a JetBlue flight discovered two bodies in the wheel well of the flight. The plane had flown from New York City to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to be specific, where the bodies were discovered. Of course, the plane had taken a route that flew many different places within the previous 24 hours before it landed in Fort Lauderdale where the bodies were discovered, which makes it more complicated to say who these people could have been. It's not like the plane was sitting on a tarmac in New York for a straight 24-hour period and then it flew from that location to Fort Lauderdale where the bodies were discovered. The plane had flown for about 5 to 6 different destinations, to include the Dominican Republic, to include overnighting in Jamaica, to include Salt Lake City, to include multiple trips back and forth between New York before it actually ended up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's the same flight that we're talking about. Of recently, there's one woman who came out to say that she believes that that was her son. We aired that, we covered that story, and here comes another mother saying she believes that one of those bodies is her son as well. So now we have two mothers from the Dominican Republic who seem to know each other, who seem also to know that their sons are friends, who are both saying they believe that those bodies are their sons. According to Channel 6 out of Florida, it says that a mother is speaking out after her son has been missing for several weeks now. And she believes that he is or was on board that JetBlue plane where the two bodies were found in the landing gear at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. You know, before I go into the details of this, a lot of Jamaicans are rejoicing, and rightfully so, that these aren't Jamaicans. If you think about it, it's not that they're not Jamaicans, because it could have been. But now that I'm looking at the people and the possibilities, like the mothers that are saying these are their sons, and the possibility of things, of someone actually doing this, this is the act of either an adult who is really slow intellectually or a teenager who is not educated enough about traveling in that part of the airplane. Remember, we've been already told by experts that that part of the airplane, when it reaches max altitude, 38,000 feet in the air, instantly it's like 30, 40 degrees below, freezing in that part. So if you don't die from freezing, you're going to die from no oxygen being in that area once the wheels retract and that door closes on the wheel well. If you don't die from that, you might die from getting crushed by the equipment coming in, retracting into the wheel well. So it's a slim chance of survival in that area anyways. Young teenagers might just see that as a way to escape, but not really know of the dangers of what could really happen. So another mother has come forward and she's speaking out. Ironelis Castillo is her name. And she did an interview with NBC6, which you can go look up Ironelis Castillo's NBC6 interview, and she's saying that her son had dreams of traveling. He wanted to travel. They're not rich, they're poor, they're in the Dominican Republic. Her son wants to get away from there. He had dreams of traveling. He spoke about it a lot. I last seen, she said, it's been weeks since I last seen my son. Her son is 16-year-old Elvis Borges Castillo, 16. He went missing around the same time those bodies were found, and she now fears that that is him. Not only that, him and his friend are missing. Ironelis said that her son left the Dominican Republic on January 4th, and she is confident about when he left because a neighborhood driver, somebody who people use as a cab driver, told her that he took her son to a nearby airport. But since then, there has been no communication between her and her son. This son probably thought he was going to make it to New York or make it to Florida, and then he would call his mom and he would say, "Hey mama, I'm in the US. Don't worry about me, I'm safe and I'll get back to you soon," or something like that. It didn't work out that way. Now mind you, their identities have still not been confirmed. So at this point, we're still guessing. But that's for another story, because I'm still wondering, why is it taking so long for them to identify these bodies, right? According to Ironelis, the mother, investigators told her that there was a 80% chance that her son was one of those bodies that were found on that plane. An 80% chance, right? But they're not saying anything to us, the general public. They're talking to the family members or alleged family members behind the scenes. They have confirmed, though, they meaning the authorities in Florida who are in possession of the bodies, who are conducting the autopsy and who are looking for the DNA evidence to prove who these individuals are. They have made it known to the news that they have spoken to these people, to the mothers, but they haven't said to us that they told them that it's an 80% chance that that is your son. The mothers are telling us that they have been told that there's a 80% chance that this is your son. 80% is a lot of chance. And at this rate, I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, these might be two boys, two friends, two young teenage friends who had big dreams of making it to the United States of America and fulfilling their dreams, and things worked out just the wrong way for them. You know, according to her, she said they have an 80% chance that this could be him. She said that it's hard not knowing where he is now or how he is doing. She also said that she no longer has hope. She no longer has hope because in her mind, she's convinced that this is her son's body. She's mainly convinced this is her son's body because of what the local cab driver told her, that he dropped him to that airport. So, and he told his mom and he told people in the neighborhood, in the community, that he was going to fly away soon. NCB6 also looked at the airplane's history, and according to Flight Aware, on January 5th, that particular plane did make a stop in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. That is where the guy said he dropped the young man off at. So it's starting to add up. It also made subsequent stops, though, in New York, in Jamaica, in Salt Lake City, and eventually ended up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Ironales said that her motherly instincts tells her that something has gone terribly wrong with her son. And hasn't been told any information by Dominican investigators as yet, only by U.S. authorities that it could be 80% could be her son. She also hasn't been able to see surveillance videos of her son, possibly at the airport, and hasn't been told if they were able to track his cell phone. As of Friday afternoon, investigators in the U.S. have not provided any new information concerning the two bodies that were found on that airplane. Again, I ask you to think outside the box, right? If bodies were on an airplane and the airplane is or was, according to this report, many of the times the airplane was in freezing conditions, either at max altitude, flying from one location to the next. It spent hours on the runway in Salt Lake City, which is covered in snow and freezing this time of the year. It spent hours in New York City, which is covered in snow and freezing at this time of the year. Those bodies should have been preserved at least to a level where identification would not be that difficult. So, why is it so hard to identify the two bodies? How this started on our channel was because originally they were thought to be Jamaicans. And for the people who said I'm the one that said it, please go back and listen to my video, my first video, my second video. I gave you my sources. The persons who said that they were Jamaicans came straight out of Jamaica's media that they were Jamaicans. We questioned how would they know. Then they came back and said they're not Jamaicans, and again we questioned how would they know. They were not found with any IDs on them. And even then, if I'm traveling with your ID and my body is badly decomposed beyond recognition, God forbid, how would they know that that's not you or that's me or who that was? ID on an individual does not necessarily 100% say that that is the individual. People carry fake IDs all the time, right? So again, medically, they have to match who these individuals are. And for me, I don't see why it's taking so long. But that's the latest update concerning the JetBlue flight with the two bodies on it. Two mothers have come forward now out of the Dominican Republic who both know each other and both know that their sons are friends, to say that their sons are missing and the cab driver said he dropped them there. This is what I don't understand either. It's never that easy to get across the tarmac and get onto a commercial jet. These areas are normally covered in every country with surveillance cameras. So, where are the surveillance camera footages that would show these young men sneaking across, getting into the airplane, etc.? Or were they assisted by somebody who works there who sold them a story? Save up your money. Pay me this amount. I got access to this part of the plane. I'll make sure you make it onto the plane and then you just jump out and run when you get to New York or Florida or wherever. I mean, you cannot sell that story to an intelligent adult, but believe it or not, you might be able to sell that story to a naive teenager who has dreams of traveling and knows no better about the dangers of traveling in that manner. I'm just saying. So the possibilities that it could be them too are very high. We're still waiting to hear, and as this video ends, let's leave on the same note. And the same note is that they still have not identified where these individuals come from. So, continue to rejoice they're not Jamaicans. We still don't know if they are or not. All we know is that pieces are falling together. People have come forward to say things, and the pieces are adding up. And the authorities in Florida have still not identified for sure who these bodies are, but one has told one of the mothers there's a 80% chance that this is actually your son. We'll stay close to the story. Continue, hit that subscribe button, continue to tune in, so when we give you the final update, when the identity is revealed, we'll all be on the same page. Hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.